Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Charlestown Races here on Wednesday. It is the 14th of December, 2022. Gonna look at the 7th race from Charlestown, but before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and I mean it around the world. Let's look at the 7th race from Charlestown, which is a lounge race, purse $34,900, race for 3-year-olds and upwards, never won. A race on main claim starter, waiving claim racer, which never won. 2 races here. We have a field of 9 horses going to the main track. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, if you want to go by that, or the distance of ground of a mile 1/16 on the Charlestown main track. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 1/16. And I show the diagram. Just gives me a second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. I'm going to take here the number 3 horse, Freedom Rider, as a top selection. Let's go 3-1-8-5 in the superfecta. 3-1-8-5 super. Top selection of 3 horse, Freedom Rider. This 4-year-old colt by Carpe Diem. Anthony Ferrero trained this one. Rashawn Larchman gets the mount. The horse's most recent out came 23rd November here at Charlestown, about 16th in a launch race, 34,000. Very similar conditions as today. He finished second by a half a length that day. You know, he stalked all the way around the racetrack. He had the lead by a lot, and then he got caught late. What can you do? He ran his heart out there. Hopefully slowing it down on the front end today. Similar kind of running race. You know, I think he could run a lot better today. 2 back in a lounge race, 35,000 at Charlestown, mile 16th, second in November. He won by a length that day. From wide post right, he left. He was a little bit wide that day, but he got to the lead. He quickened up nicely, and he got the job done. A very good race for him there. And then on a mud but Herod going at Charlestown, 7 furlongs on a state bred optional 15. He finished second by 1/4 lengths that day, and he sat back early. He was really closing up well late. You know, not the world's worst race for him that day. Probably would needed a mile to win, but it was still a good race. And then in Charlestown, 15th of September, 6.5 and an optional 15. He finished second by 4.5 lengths that day. The winner was much the best when next start out. This horse just wasn't getting there. Since going to the routing trip 2 back, he's really become a lot better horse, and I think he's improved a lot. Coming here today at 3-1, I'm going to use him. Multi-race scenario, I think the 1 horse Night Boss you have to use in that late pick 4. Most recent race, he closed up well, but the 2 in front of him were much the best there. And then before that, he was setting some wicked fast fractions on the 2nd November here at Charlestown. But he's another horse. If he could slow it down on the front end, it wouldn't surprise me if he wins. At 10-1, we'll use him in the ticket to upset here. But to recount my selection for the 7th from Charlestown, let's take the 3 horse Freedom Rider. Give kudos to the 1 horse Night Boss. 3-1-8-5 super. 3-1 in your multi-race. So good luck to all. Please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5. Good luck, everybody.